Hello, this is Anna of Transformative Destinations. I have been doing some work recently around repetitive patterns that occur in relationships. Repetitive patterns that create pain in daily life. Many times in childhood, there are certain dynamics that are going on in the family growing up. Now, this is not to label, because those things don't really work, because yet the mind starts to think, oh, I figured it out. This is what's happening. This person is this. That person did that. Okay? And so then it creates, it just limits the way that you see another being, because another being of light is as complex as you are. They are so multidimensional. A person may be one way with you and a completely different way in another interaction with another person. So it's never to say that this person is this other person is a victim. This other person is the abuser. This other person is the rescuer. It's kind of like we're moving, it's a cycle, and everybody participates in each part of that cycle. It's a cycle of disempowerment in relationships. So it's the victim, the perpetrator, and the rescuer. And we're all in that role, kind of moving in and out of those roles in different ways, in different relationships, and with different awareness. You know, some of us may be more unconscious about our perpetrator behavior. Some of us may be more aware of ourselves as victims. So again, it's about awareness and just bringing more and more awareness to our states and our behaviors in daily life. Because it's not going to be like a light bulb goes off and everything's resolved. What we do in this energy work and in the quantum light work is, as we raise vibration, it's like these pockets of energy open and bubble up to the surface and reveal information. Okay? So one of these little pockets of energy may be, wow, I've been in this pattern of abuse, and this pattern of abuse, you know, where I have these experiences that leave me feeling unworthy and like there's something wrong with me. That experience spirals. It just comes up once in a while in different situations. So one gets to a place where it's ready to be neutralized and included back into the wholeness of who we are. We no longer need to learn from this anymore. We've learned everything we need to know about being in an abusive relationship, for example, being in a narcissistic, abusive relationship, codependency, where, you know, we're putting our needs aside so that this person won't get angry, because they're in this pattern of anger, and so then we hold back who we are so that they don't get upset, you know, like all that kind of stuff, codependency. And most of the time we get into these patterns because we're seeking love from an external source. So again, once we start to tap into the love from an internal source, these patterns start to bubble up for us to see where we're still in these kinds of dynamics, so they can come up to the surface, be made conscious, and dissolved back into the oneness. We no longer have anything more to learn. We say thank you, and the patterns are dissolving back into consciousness with love. Okay? So it's really exciting when this happens, because you really see the freedom and the energy and creativity that comes when one of these unconscious patterns no longer is feeding off your energy. And so that has happened with me recently. I've had a tremendous breakthrough in my relationships with family and with my son, and we've gone back. Another thing that has been truly exciting is that when you see something that happened in the past, you can actually go back and send healing vibrations and energy and shift the pattern, because really in the quantum field there's no time and space. Everything is happening simultaneously. So for example, I did see a moment when I had just had my baby boy, and I was feeding him, and there was a very harsh I had a very harsh interaction with my ex-husband at that moment. And I became aware in my meditation that my son had received a very harsh vibration while he was feeding, and while he was nursing, and I was horrified, because now that I understand energy, I thought, oh my goodness, he just absorbed this very negative, very kind of aggressive vibration that was happening in this interaction. And so I did go into the quantum field, back to that moment, and created a protective, and I even saw the Ascended Master Kuan Yin, who is the goddess of compassion, and she came forth, and I could see that she created a protection, a bubble of this beautiful pink and aqua light and golden light around my son that was nurturing and supporting him in that moment. And it was so beautiful, and in that moment there was a recalibration of all of our energies, because there's a ripple effect. Okay, and so there's a recalibration of the dynamic and of the energy. So that is absolutely a shamanic tool that we have to recalibrate energy patterns. And so we're going to do a very brief exercise where you can do the same thing. So let's just focus on our breathing. Be aware of your connection to the earth. And I'm seeing Kuan Yin again come forth, and Kuan Yin is saying that anything can be healed. There is nothing that has happened in your past that all of these incidents, the purpose is to for growth and the expansion of consciousness. There's nothing that can't be forgiven. There's nothing that can't be healed. So we're going to call forth what we were talking about, patterns of abuse in relationships. And you may want to just focus on one incident that recently happened. something that, where there was a trigger, where there was an interaction that left you feeling that you had done something wrong, or that something's not right, okay? So just kind of bring that into your awareness. And we want to tap into the feeling that came up. And just allow that feeling to detach from the story. So that can be very tricky, and it does take some practice to do it, but you take the focus away from the players, the different characters that brought up the incident. And you focus on the feeling that is triggered. Whether it's a frustration, just a sense of not being understood, not being able to express, not being heard. There's different feelings like that are very difficult to resolve. And what happens is that then they're difficult to resolve with another person. It's something that needs to be taken care of inside. So for example, it could just be this very strong feeling of not being heard and being dismissed. Like you're expressing something that's important, or you're expressing a need, but that need was dismissed and it wasn't heard. And you're left with this feeling of, like nobody gets me, and I'm alone, and why is it always like this? Okay, so that energy, we focus on that vibration. Without attaching it to a person or a story, okay? And you allow that feeling to be there. The mind will always start to go back to, oh, well, this person said that and that person said that. Okay, but you bring it back with the breath to the feeling. Also, it's helpful to find it, that feeling may be lodged like in a certain part of the body. And that is also helpful, because then you can start to focus on that part of the body. Like for me now, that feeling is in the abdominal area, the solar plexus. So once you locate the place in the body, then you put your attention, you focus on that place, and you breathe into that area. Call forth. Remember, thinking, analyzing about what happened is most likely not going to take this to a real lasting resolution. It's a vibration that is going to be transformed. Okay? So again, focus on the feeling, the sensation in the body. Put your attention to that area. Breathe. Okay? So in this way, we're creating a container, an energy, sacred container of transformation, where we are inviting an alchemical process to occur. So now we're going to call forth an ascended master. We're going to ask for assistance. Okay? Archangel Michael is a fantastic being to call forth. This is his specialty. He specializes in cutting through cords that create limitation, energy cords. And these are hooks, emotional hooks where we get triggered, where we get pulled into patterns from the past, okay? So he's very, very precise. So we're going to call in Archangel Michael, ask for his assistance. Thank you. And he's going to work around, in this example, around the solar plexus, cleansing, dissolving, cutting cords that no longer serve us. Just removing any kind of dynamic or pattern that we hook into unconsciously. So all of this is becoming conscious and being cleansed with this, and I'm seeing this bright blue light. And another amazing tool is the violet flame. And so Saint Germain is coming into the space, into the sacred alchemical container with the violet flame. And this is kind of like a whirling tornado. It's whirling through this whole area, cleansing, purifying, the violet flame. Just allow that violet color to sweep through. And then all these energies just release through the grounding cord into the earth. And we make a choice. I choose to release all effects of abuse in my life in this now moment. All effects of abuse are released out of my body fully and completely now. So this release creates space for a new vibration to come forth. So now we call forth clarity, divine nourishment, support. See a beautiful golden orange light shining into the solar plexus area. This is your own divine source. This golden light is pure divine grace, and it expands and is absorbed by every electron in your energy field, filling you with divine support and grace. And it comes from inside you. This is your own source of divinity within you. So just feel that. Just allow that feeling of divine support to expand and to grow and to stabilize. I'm now seeing the Venus beings of light coming forth to assist us. And their expertise and support has to do with really coming into being yourself. Fierce, unconditional acceptance of the self, and allowing the unique signature essence of every being to unfold, having the space to unfold naturally and in a space of support and love and being nourished from within, from the source, from your source. So this nourishment and this love comes from within. So we're receiving assistance from the beings of light, from the ascended masters, in becoming aware that the source is within, is inside ourselves. And that is an endless fountain of support. Okay, so then it makes sense. Some of the things that Jesus has said, that I will show you the living water within you and you'll never be thirsty again. And he would say things like that, and it now it really makes sense. Yes, there is this fountain, this source within that is constantly nourishing and revitalizing us. And we have to bring our attention to that source within, away from these dynamics and that we get into because we're looking for that source outside ourselves or in another person. So we get into these very complicated, dysfunctional dynamics where we hurt each other. And so we each have to go back inside ourselves and find that source inside ourselves. So that is a huge paradigm shift that we're going through individually and collectively at this time. And as we each individually make this shift, again, this ripples out into the collective and it affects everyone. So thank you. Thank you for joining me and for doing this work and for being open to new ways of responding to everyday situations. And we can do it, and we're here to support each other. So thank you for tuning in. And if you would like any information or if you would like to connect with me, we can do one-on-one sessions. And so take a look at my website, transformativedestinations.com. Have a wonderful, blessed day.